Hey everyone, Tom once again for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. Let's talk about what Rafa did today. Rafa is back on the Buggy here because the parts that we ordered for the double cab didn't come in until kind of late in the day. It was around lunchtime, maybe even after lunchtime. So he went ahead and spent the morning back on this guy here. Pretty much primarily wiring. Our chrome shop did come through with the chrome that we had done. So that was the bezels for these rear very cool looking lights, which Rafa believes were originally probably sold for use on trailers. They look like lights that would have been on a trailer a long time ago. Super cool looking, very appropriate looking, and kind of different. You know, you don't really see many buggies, maybe none, with this exact combination here. And that's one of the things that's kind of cool about buggies is you can kind of do what you want with them. A lot of people just run Beetle tail lights. Nothing wrong with that, but I really like the fact that this one's got this very cool mix here of Impala tail lights and then these tail lights that are probably, again, off a trailer or something. They kind of look like something that could have been off a very early Porsche. But anyway, so yeah, those came in. The headlight buckets we also have, and they came out amazing. I will show those at a later time. They're right there wrapped up in paper. Those are chrome now. They're the original ones with this Buggy, and they look spectacular. So, like I said, other than that, continuing in on wiring here, you can see a lot of progress here. The fuse box is all mounted up, and there's about a bajillion wires going to and from it there. And so, yeah, moving right along. I think the horn down in here is wired up. Kind of dark, sorry about that. But yeah, lots of wiring done today on this guy. And Rafa went ahead, and I had mentioned that we were swapping some of the lights around. He said it actually would be easier to do at the back of the car versus up front. So he went ahead and did it back here. So now the outer lights, these little beehive looking ones, are the turn indicators. And then the bigger ones, the Impala, are running lights or tail lights if you prefer, and brake lights. So there you go. Anyway, this thing has quite a booty. I have to say, I kind of like it. So that's what happened on this guy today. For me, I kind of did a variety of things. I'll start with the Manx Buggy chassis, even though chronologically that's the last thing I did today. A couple things. One is I went ahead and cleaned up his master cylinder, which was just rusty and kind of gross, and put a high quality coat of paint on it. And then it had some kind of weird aftermarket billet reservoir, and it was just leaking and stuff. And so we'll throw that thing in the trash, and we'll put a high quality bus reproduction reservoir on there that's made to screw on there. And I would be very surprised if it leaks. But anyway, so that went back on. And then I didn't really like on the donor chassis, I didn't really like the long line that runs from the master cylinder to the back of the car. It was just ugly, and it would have been a pain to remove it from the chassis anyway because of the way they're kind of bent and routed through there. So I thought it would be better to just go ahead and make a new one. So that's exactly what I did. Bought one made for a Beetle, and then I shortened it by 14¼ inches, which is how much these chassis are shortened. Put a metric bubble flare back on the end that I cut, and the rest is history. So you can see here, routed up there to the master cylinder, through the little bulkhead here, nice and smooth along the pan, and then finally through the rear bulkhead, and then boom to the little T-junction over here. So yeah, those take a long time to form. They're actually kind of a pain because you have to fish it through both bulkheads, and then you have to kind of form the ends with it fished through there already. It's just kind of the way it works on these. I suppose you could do it some other way, but I think it would be much harder. So usually, go ahead and route it through both bulkheads as a more or less straight brake line, and then start. I usually start here on the master cylinder end, form that one, and then form this kind of jog here, back here, and then start forming it back through here, and then make this kind of little jog here, and then finally the little loop-de-loop there where it goes back and meets the T. So yeah, kind of a pain, but gotta do it. So that is primarily what happened on this fella here. I guess since I'm already at the back of the shop, we'll talk about this guy for a minute here. So I finally went and formed, I guess I was just in the mood for forming brake lines today. I finally went and formed the rear hard lines for this car. It did have hard lines on it, but again, they were ugly. So I went ahead and made new ones because we don't want anything ugly on here. So there you go. So I did those, and I went ahead and installed a new deck lid seal here. Went on really nice. This channel was really nice. There was only a couple little areas where I had to kind of go in with a screwdriver and tweak it a little bit where it would have been a little tight. So yeah, this went on pretty nice. Little WD-40 and little persuasion from a screwdriver. Carefully work your way around, and next thing you know, it's in. So did that, and then he has a pair of very cool gauges that are there. I don't remember if I showed them before or not. You'll see them eventually, but they are going to go in a holder that's going to mount under the steering column. So we'll have basically one gauge here and then one gauge here. The car had some kind of weird, like homemade looking maybe gauge holder in this position here with a couple gauges in it. And so I pulled that out today, and then the owner did supply a new stock grill for here. So I took that and cleaned it up and put a coat of paint on it, black obviously. Unfortunately, the black that I put on it, it doesn't really match the black of the car. You know, it's kind of like white. There's not really just one white. Well, black's kind of the same. So the black that I use doesn't match. So I'm going to have one of my painter guys that I use. I think he's probably got an automotive black that should be a much better match to this black versus what I used out of some high quality rattle can paint. So we'll go ahead and have him paint that grill and put it in there, and then that'll all be stock. And then again, the gauges will be mounted up underneath the steering column with a really cool little mount that he's got. So I did those things. And let's see here. Work my way over to the bench. The other thing I did for that car today is finally got around to painting his very nice Bosch distributor. So this is a proper 40 horse big cap distributor. Had a really, really nice badge on it. And of course we preserved that like we do. And yeah, so that got paint. His vacuum canister also needed some love, and so it got some. Now it looks really good. He had a brand new or newly rebuilt generator, but I don't know who rebuilt it, but it was painted black, which looks really weird and is totally incorrect, and to be honest was kind of ugly. So went ahead and prepared that and painted it silver, so now it looks correct, like a Volkswagen distributor, or excuse me, a Volkswagen generator should. A nice silver color. And oh, here's this. So yeah, this looks black, but it's not the same black as the car, so we'll have to take care of that before it goes on. Other last little minor thing was the driver's side window is finally like on for good and adjusted, and it rolls up and down really, really nice. So very happy with how these cowlick one-piece windows came out. They look good open, they look good closed, they roll up and down smooth. Major pain in the ass, but I've worked out a method now for putting these in, which I think is pretty foolproof and should be repeatable. Although I don't know that I would necessarily want to install another set. I've got it down to kind of a science now, I think. So who knows, if another project comes along and they're wanting to relive the 80s and one-piece windows, then we can do that. So I believe that is, oh, that's not quite it. Jacob was hard at work today. working on, let's see if I can find it back here on Peter's car. Oh, there it is. So he went ahead and restored the generator for Peter's car. So this is a 67 Beetle. So this was also very ugly, and you can see now it looks incredible. And somewhere around here, he also did the vacuum canister for the distributor. So it's kind of funny, 2 vacuum canisters and 2 2 generators, pretty much same treatment today, cleaned up and painted and so on. So kind of a funny coincidence. Anyway, so for real, that's it for today, guys. I think tomorrow we're going to go ahead and have Rafa work on this guy some more. And I'm not sure what I'll do, but I'll figure it out. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.